Good morning, everybody. Doctor here, and with the EU LCS starting in just a couple hours, I thought it'd be a good idea to release a video trying to pick the winners of today's games. With the first game being a really good show to be expected, Fnatic versus Origin, the summer finals once again being recreated in a best-of-one format. There's been a lot of changes on that Fnatic roster. Huni, Reignover, and Yellowstar all leaving, needing to be replaced. The roster did look pretty good at IEM, losing 2-1 to QG, but Origin, on the other hand, hasn't really made that many changes. They only changed out the mid laner. Peke left because he wanted to focus more on the business side, and in his place they picked up Power of Evil, another really good long-range, pokey, supporty mid laner. And they've had a lot of time to practice with him. I think at the end of the day, I think Origin should be able to pick this one up, and either way, it'll be really close. Following up that game, it's going to be Elements versus G2. Elements lost a lot of people, mainly Froggen. He was the one that really wanted to create that powerhouse of a team, and it just didn't quite work out. And with the newest lineup, it kind of looks like they just tried to pick up whatever they could. Mr. Raleigh being the only real sticking name. Gillis did do some in Challenger Series, getting Unicorns of Love into the LCS and stuff like that, but he never really stood out as some of the other junglers in EU have. Going up against G2, a pretty well-established organization at this point. They've done good in other games. This team they picked up here, they took Kikis and took him out of the jungle, threw him in the top lane, stole Emperor from NA. He didn't really have a long stint there, but when he was there, he did look pretty good. So he's definitely going to be looking to pick that team up and, carry it to the playoffs and see what they can do there. I think that game's going to go to G2. There's really no known reason that it shouldn't. And so Elements probably take the loss day one. Giants versus H2K is going to be the third game of the day. Right after that, H2K did have some off-season drama with that whole Svenskeren TSM thing, and it didn't quite work out in their favor. They lost Svenskeren to TSM, obviously. But the team that we managed to pick up in the meantime is actually pretty strong. Odoamne in the top lane. Yankos, really good in the jungle still. Ryu, he was a powerhouse last year. For given a nice, strong AD carry that they can rely on to not really mess up and just get obliterated. And then Vander rounding out the support, looking really good. Going up against Giants Gaming, another team that just didn't really know what to pick up in the offseason. Pepe's there, pretty good poke mid laner. He relied really heavily on the Ruinglaive Ezreal last season, so we'll have to see what the new poke he picks up this season will be. Adri and Godfred, the bot lane that's stuck together this long. Okay, nothing outstanding. They're not top tier, but they're not auto relegation tier. So should be pretty good there. Ku in the jungle is going to look to really support that mid lane, because that's where the big damage is going to be coming from for that team. And I'm going to give it to H2K. There's just too much power on that team to really lose to the Giants mismatch there. Splice, Unicorns of Love, fourth game of the day. Should be a pretty good one. Unicorns of Love definitely kind of petered out at the end of last season. They lost their jungler to a Challenger Series team, hoping that he could get back in. They did manage to pick up Diamond Prox, though. Gambit obviously fell apart and just sort of disbanded. Diamond Prox wanted to go somewhere that he can win and that he can go to the playoffs and, not just sort of sit at the bottom of the table. Steelback also joining him on that squad, went to NA for the Challenger Series for a little bit, didn't get into the LCS there, so now he's coming back to join the LCS team, which is really what he wanted, but I'm sure he wanted to do it a different way. And then the Spliced team, formerly Follow Esports, formerly Dig EU. Senkooks was a monster in that mid lane in the Challenger Series, so I'm hoping that he can, carry it along and prove himself in the LCS. Fox wasn't really anything spectacular, Unicorns mid laner. So Senkooks, he's going to have it a bit easy, I think, as his first game in the LCS. Trashy moving back to EU after getting relegated in Enemy. He did okay. He's going up against Diamond Proc, so he might have a little bit of a rough time. Diamond might be really looking to exploit that. Being the jungler that he is, he likes to get in your face and just sort of just control your jungle. And so we'll see if he can do that against Trashy. Looking at these two lineups, I want to give it to Splice. I really do. But with Diamond Procs, Vivasashi, and Steelback, it's going to be Unicorns of Love's games to lose. And that leads us to the last game of the day, which is going to be Team Vitality, formerly Gambit, going up against Rockhat. And Rockhat made some changes. They picked up Edward, they picked up Saphir, and Betsy from the old Gambit. So they're kind of looking strong. However, Vitality is also looking really solid. They're not looking bottom tier. They have Cabashad, Shook, Nukta, Hjarn, and Kasing. Kasing, trialed with TSM for IEM, looking really strong there. Shook's always been pretty solid. Hjarnen's that kind of guy that just sits back and farms and then picks up the team fight kills. So combining with Kasing's safety in lane, he's definitely going to be able to get to a point where he can really help his team. And I think they'll be able to pick up the W there. They're solid enough that they really... It'll be close, I think, because Edward can maybe mess with Kasing and, get the lead there. But I think, end of the day, it's going to come down to Vitality picking up the win there. And that's day one in the EU LCS. So the wins tomorrow is going to be Origin, G2, H2K, I want to say Unicorns, and then Team Vitality. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you tomorrow with day 2 of the EU LCS predictions. Thank you and goodbye.